Stampers. My name is Sandy Hancock. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I want to welcome you to Utterly Awesome Stamping. Today, what I'm going to be showing you is a fun fold card. I saw a card designed by Alyssa Tilsner, and I thought it was so amazing. So I sat down to figure it out. Now, this is not her card, but it's her design. So when you open it up, it doesn't even open. Normally you open a card like this, but you pull it like this. It's accordion. Okay, so I'm going to cover up my face. Is that not fun or what? I've made several other designs, so I want to show you what this is. My latest one. I just finished it yesterday. So let's pull this down and I'll show you how to do it. It's really quite easy to do. I think I'll adjust that a little bit. Okay, I think we're good to go. Now here's the original one that Alyssa did, and she used the Flower and Field designer paper. It's one of the SAB, one of the free ones for $50. And so when you open it, isn't this just gorgeous? Okay, and then I want to show you this little trick that she did. When I normally put a backing behind this So Sentimental, remember when this bundle came out, we all just loved it and so many of us bought it. Well, that's what she used, not only for the greeting, but she used the die to cut out the sentiment. And normally I would cut out two of these same sentiments, since there isn't one to be a layer, and I would pull one down and one up. But what she did was to concentrate on the rectangle that's within this greeting. And so I cut a piece of cardstock that's 3 inches by 1 7/8, and it exactly backs the rectangle. So it really pops, and I love it. And then she mounted daisies, which she got from this piece. It's another piece out of the same Flower and Field DSP. It killed me to cut into this, but I did because I just loved what she did. So monkey see, monkey do, right? And then what I wanted to show you is that when you cut it out, if you just move the paper and not the scissors, it cuts out very, very quickly. So just keep turning the paper and not the scissors, and you'll get it cut out quickly. So there are 2 daisies mounted on the front, and there's 1 daisy on the inside. The cardstock for the inside is 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. And then the white is 1/4 inch less. Okay, so the second one I did was the daisies. Garden green on the inside, but I did put green galore, not green galore, oh, that's an old color, Granny Apple green on the front because it pops better on the black. You could also add a greeting here if you want to. I just didn't know what I wanted to say, so I haven't added a greeting yet to that. Then the next one I did is from Berry Blessings, and this is one also that's free. The Berry Blessings comes in a bundle, so you're getting the set and the papers. It's an SAB for $100. And when you open this one up, it's just got a little strawberry inside. So again, I cut the strawberries out. There aren't dies to go with this. And I cut out the leaves and did the same type of, oh no, this is different. Okay, so I do love the greeting. You always have a way to, of making my day. Isn't that awesome? You always have a way of making my day. I absolutely love that greeting. And look at the paper on the back. Isn't that gorgeous? So you have 1/4 inch on the left, 1/4 inch on the right of the same thing that's on the front. This is always going to be the paper on the back. And then the next one I designed is once again out of the Flower and Field designer paper. A little dark, but still absolutely beautiful. So Cherry Cobbler and Flirty Flamingo. And the little flowers are out of this punch, if you can see it. Called the Small Blossom Punch. It was in Celebration last year or the year before. I can't remember which year it was. And the little tiny leaves are from this Apple Builder Punch, if you can see it. I know there's a glare. If you don't have the Apple Builder Punch, then you probably have a set of dies that's going to have a little leaf in it that you can use. When you punch out the leaves, what I like to do is just take the end of my pen and stick it like this, and it makes the leaves stand up and it looks like a leaf. Okay, so that's it. Then the one that I designed yesterday is this Friends Are Like Seashells. I showed you a card last week on my video, this one, and it just used the die whole and complete. This week what I'm doing is I'm cutting it up. So I'm using 1, 2, 3, and then on the inside 4. So I'm using 4 of the seashells. And I'll remind you again that when you cut out the die, okay, this is what the die looks like. You cut it out and it's just plain, not really that great to look at. But when you run it through the embossing folder, and I just put the copyright up, I put the die in, I like to match it on the bottom because I can see the picture more clearly. Close it, emboss it, and then you've got this gorgeous print. But this time what I'm doing is cutting it apart, and you're going to be happy to know that this cuts apart very, very easily. So you're just going to go around it, cut out the seashells. I used 4 of them. I didn't use all of them, and you won't, I'm not going to take your time to cut it. I've already cut them. But anyway, it's really easy to cut them apart. And so that's what you're going to do. Just do it while you're watching TV or something. Okay, so let me show you how to fold. Now, I am making this video for the second time, so I already went ahead and folded the extra paper. So I'm going to use a different piece of paper just to show you how to fold it, and then I'm going to go back to the Sand and Sea DSP. Okay, so this is another print that's out of the Field and Flower DSP, and then on the back. So I think this is going to be really pretty too. So here's the most important thing. When you have your 12-inch by 5 1/2 inch piece of designer paper, make sure that whatever you want on the front is going to be on the left. Normally you would think it's going to be on the right. It's not intuitive to think that this is going to be the front of your card, but it is. So you need to be really careful. Okay, so we're going to put this in, and then we're going to come over to 3 3/4 inches and score. Then you're going to come over to 7 3/4 inches and score. Okay, so let me turn this around because I also need to show you how to fold it. Okay, so once again, you're coming in from the left and you're going 3 3/4, and then you're going 7 3/4. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it back around so it's facing the right direction with you. You're going to fold this front part over, making sure that the edges line up with each other really nicely. Then fold it under. The reason I didn't have you fold it under initially is because I don't want you turning over the paper. It can get confusing. Okay, so then the next thing is just come to the left, find the score line, fold it over, make sure that you're lining up your papers, and then look at it. If it's not perfect, then fix it. So I'm going to fix this just a little bit. Okay, so isn't this cute? 1/4 inch here. You open it up. So this is going to make a super cute card. I just haven't really done this one yet. So now I'm going to come back to the one that I'm actually going to do, and that's going to be the did I do that right? Am I doing that? No, it's this way. Okay, I'm going to confuse you guys. Okay, so let's start with the inside. Again, my piece of cardstock is 3 3/4 inches wide by 5 1/4 inches. And what I'm going to do is add some sand to the bottom. And the first piece of sand I'm going to use is just a filler. I'm going to stamp it in Sahara sand. It's this little stamp that's from High Tide, because we just need a little bit of ink at the bottom, a little bit of sand. So I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to come back with soft suede, and I'm going to add the stamp that's from the Friends Are Like Seashells. It just has dots. That's why I wanted a little something else to go with it as a filler. If you don't have the High Tide set, then what I would suggest is that you just take a sponge, and this might be a good time to use one of these amazing little brushes and just sponge a little bit over the Friends Are Like Seashells. Okay, now I'm going to take, let's see, I'm going to stamp my stamp, and if you notice, the colors in here are Flirty Flamingo, Seaside Spray, and Sahara Sand. So I'm going to take Flirty Flamingo, and I'm going to make sure my stamp is nice and straight. Take your time to line it up. Hover for a moment and get it as good as you can. Right over. Okay, that looks good. And you can see that it's not stamping whole and complete, which is exactly what I want. I don't want it whole and complete. So now on a little scratch piece of paper, I'm going to take a sponge dauber, and I'm using a sponge dauber instead of that gorgeous sponge that I just showed you, because it doesn't have very, you can't put a lot of pressure on it, and I need pressure to get this green inked. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add some Wink of Stella to it. Okay, we've got Wink of Stella, put aside the green. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to add the white to the blue. Such a nice pop. And then I'm going to add the seashell. I'm going to put it at an angle. And I want a little bit of the sand showing at the bottom. And then I'm just simply going to take, I'm going to take some pearls. I'll add little ones. Because when you think of seashells, don't you just think of pearls? Oops, get on there. Hello. Okay, that's good. And then we'll put a couple down here. Okay, so we're good. All right, so here we go. We've got the inside part made. I'm going to go ahead and put some seal on it. And open it up. And when you, let me just turn it this way so you can see what I'm doing. When you put your insert inside, pay attention to where the fold is. You want to put it a little closer to the fold than you do to the edge, because when this closes, you don't want to see the cardstock. So if you put it right in the center, it's going to show when you close the front. So just be a little bit careful about that. Okay, that looks good. All right, so now we've got the front done, the inside done. We want to do the front. So I'm going to start with the nested label dies. This is the largest one. This is the next largest one. They really layer and make a beautiful background for the card that I'm making. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is go back once again, and I'm going to add the sand because I want a little bit of interest at the bottom. So I've got that. I'm going to leave that one open because I'm going to need it again in a minute. Then I'm going to get the soft suede once again. Oops, what did I do? Here we go. Okay, let's add a little bit of soft suede. There we go. I think I'm done with that one. All right, so then what we're going to do is get the Stamparatus, because I want to make sure my greeting is straight. So I've marked exactly where I want it to be, and I want the points right on the line so they're nice and straight. Okay, now when I'm initially figuring out where to place the stamp on the Stamparatus, I just knocked that out of place. I like to take the piece from do you remember the Stamp-A-Ma-Jig had a 5.5-inch piece of acrylic? Well, it's really nice for this kind of a situation, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right over the top, and then I would put my stamp down. I already know it's in the right position, but I would adjust it, and I would stamp onto the piece of acrylic, and then I would look at it and I would go, okay, that looks good. So if it looks good, if it didn't look good, then I'm going to sit and adjust it, right? But if it does look good, then I'm just going to carefully move that piece. Make sure it's still in alignment. Then I'm going to ink it up. there was something on that piece of acrylic that got onto my print. That does not make me happy. In fact, it's making me unhappy enough that I'm going to just do this again. So since I've got this right here, I'm just going to grab another one, line up the points, because in my mind, I would have a hard time. Oops, hello. I would have a hard time sending that to anybody. So if your magnets come together, just kind of gently pull them apart. Okay, so let's try that again, see if we can do it without making a mess. Okay. I think my flamingo, Flirty Flamingo, needs to be re-inked because I'm having to ink this 3 times. Okay. So that looks good. There we go. All right, so now I'm just going to go back quickly and stamp my sand again. Please tell me that you guys do this sometimes, right? You just get so far along and then, uh-oh, not happy, starting over. Okay, now we're back to where we were. My sand. Okay, so now I can sponge my clouds. So what I do is I cut a sponge up into 6 parts. I put the color at the top that I'm using, so this would be blues. Then I take the scallop punch. This is a retired one, but the indentions of the scallops are really nice and deep. The ones we have now are beautiful, but they're not as, the indents are not as deep. So it doesn't, I don't think it makes as pretty of clouds. So just see if you can find a scallop punch that has deeper indentions. And then I just pull, and I put a good bit of pressure on this when I pull down over it. Okay, so my clouds are sponged, ready to go. Now I can mount this. Let's turn that a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to mount it on the Seaside spray right in the center. And when I add this to the front of the card, I'm going to add dimensionals. And you could use big ones, or you can use little ones. Whatever you have on hand works just great. The bigger ones, I guess, would have been faster today. But sometimes I feel like I need to cut those in half because I really don't need big ones on this. Okay, so before I press it down, I'm gonna just kind of check, see if it's really, whoops, let go, see if it's really in the center. I think it needs to be pulled over just a tiny bit. Okay, so are you a little bit picky about this like I am? Okay, so now we're just ready. Did I just do that upside down? No. Oh, I did. Oh, sigh. Really? Yes, ma'am. I did that upside down. So, let's see. I'll have to pull this off. Don't you love it? Well, please tell me you've done this before. Okay, so check and make sure of the direction of your card. That's nice. And then put it on straight. Let's see if it'll still stick with these dimensionals. Hopefully it will. I think they're a little bit forgiving. Yeah, it's gonna stick. Okay. Phew. Oh, that was a close call. I would have been really unhappy if I'd gotten this whole card made and it was upside down. All right. So now what we want to do is stamp and add the other shells. So the first big one is going to be the Seaside spray. And of course I don't know what I did with it. Here it is. Okay. Seaside spray. Again, I'm just going to hover right over the stamp, an embossed image. And again, it's not stamping whole and complete. Oh man, that is so beautiful. Absolutely love it. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp the little one in Sahara Sand. Let me make sure I've got the right color. We've made all the mistakes, right? All the possible mistakes. Hey, oh yeah, that's stamped. It's just light. Okay, Sahara Sand. And then I'm going to stamp, just copying what I did before. I'm going to take this medium size shell and I'm going to stamp it in Flirty Flamingo. They keep flipping over. Okay. All right, now that one, I didn't get it quite where I wanted it. So I'm just going to go cut it down a little bit. Oops, beautiful. Okay, so we can set that aside. Okay, now I'm going to get this little piece back. And I want to take my seaside, or what is it, soft sea foam, and I'm going to use the sponge dauber again. And you know, again, when you're using sponge daubers, you want to make sure that you save one for the greens, one for the blues, etc. I think they are washable, but you really don't want to do that. Okay, so that one, I'm not sure how much of this is going to show, but we're going to be prepared. Oh, I just pulled off the top of that one. But I think that'll be okay. Okay, anything else? Nope, I think we're good. Okay, so we'll put the sea foam aside. Okay, so tell me, I haven't lost my little guy. We're going to add some Winkostella. Doesn't Winkostella just bring everything alive and make it pop? Which reminds me, I think I need to order some more Winkostella. Oh, sigh. Oh no, please don't do that. Have you ever had that happen? Oh, that does not make me happy at all. You have to be really careful squeezing this stuff. However, I think it's going to be okay. Just be careful when you squeeze. Sometimes it can come out in a blob, like it just did. Sometimes it ruins the card, and sometimes it doesn't. This time, I am grateful to say it did not ruin the shell. In fact, it looks kind of pretty. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to place this so that a little bit of my sand is showing. I'm going to have to wash my mat. I think I'm getting, let's see, I think I'm going to put a little bit more green on this. Okay, that's better. Okay, so let's add just a little bit of that. I'm going to stick it under, kind of like that. And then this little tiny shell is going to tuck under the great big one right here. Okay, wow. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is simply add some pearls on the front. And I am going to, oops, let go here. Okay, I'm going to use 2 mediums. These medium ones are 4 millimeters. And I'll tell you, I wish there were more of them. But you know, every project changes. Sometimes I want more of one, sometimes I want more of the other. This time I seem to be using a lot of the 4 millimeter ones. Okay, I'm going to push that up a little bit. I think I'm happy. Okay, so there you go. All right, so you can make 4 of these out of one package. Or, you know, if you made the whole package, you'd have 24 cards that are going to go together pretty quickly. The only thing will be just deciding, you know, how to decorate the front. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've enjoyed the video and watch more of what I have. Also, all the details for this card will be on my blog today, sandystamper.com. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll look forward to having you back next time.